Hey guys, what's up? 2-Bit Jesus here, and welcome to the 4th anniversary of the 2-Bit review. Now, as you guys have seen in the past, for an anniversary review, I usually look at a Streets of Rage game, and I've kind of ran out of Streets of Rage games. Now, Streets of Rage 4 is coming out as of the recording of this video, but it hasn't come out yet. But rest assured, when it does, I will take a look at it and I will review it. Now, it was always my intention to look at a beat-em-up game for the anniversary review. It was never intended for it to always be Streets of Rage. It just so happened that every anniversary I wanted to look at a Streets of Rage game. And now that I've finished off that franchise, now I could look at fan remakes or imports from Japan or whatnot, but I'm in the mood to move on. It's time to move on and look at other franchises. And the franchise in particular I'm going to look at today is one that asks a very important question. And that question is, the president has been kidnapped by ninjas. Are you a bad enough dude to rescue the president? Now, this game has spawned a bunch of memes. This game is also a little personal for me, as its Stage 2 theme is the main theme to the 2-Bit channel and 2-Bit review. I've been using it for the past 4 years now. Maybe you guys are tired of listening to it, but you know what? Too bad. HBK had his sexy boy theme and he stuck with it, and I'm sticking with this theme. And without further ado, let's go ahead and review Bad Dudes for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Bad Dudes is a side-scrolling beat-em-up arcade game developed and published by Data East. Originally released in the arcades, it eventually made its way to the home consoles and PCs in the late 80s and early 90s. The console ports had some changes to the arcade, however. President Ronald Reagan in the NES version was removed because of Nintendo of America's censorship rules. The president in NES Bad Dudes does bear a resemblance to George H.W. Bush, whose administration was in power at the time of the NES port's release. The intro to Bad Dudes, featuring a pre-Resident Evil Albert Wesker telling the player the president has been kidnapped by ninjas and if you're a bad enough dude to rescue him, catapulted the game into popular meme culture. Karnov, the main character of another Data East game, made a cameo in the first stage as its boss. The NES instruction manual states the reason Karnov is working with the ninjas is a mystery. Bad Dudes has also been referenced in general pop culture with the movie Parenthood starring Steve Martin. Well guys, that's it for the tidbits on this game. Let's see if we're bad enough dudes and dudettes for this review. Bad Dudes is your basic side-scrolling single/co-op beat-em-up where you must beat up every ninja on the stage by any means necessary. How you accomplish this is with your wits, your mitts, your kicks, and your weapons that are found in the stage. You can also pick up cans of soda to refill health. You also have a special spin kick move that comes in handy when too many enemies are on the screen. Something I didn't discover while recording is a charge attack you can perform to get greater damage on enemies, particularly bosses. There are 2 Bad Dudes that you can play. Blade, a guy in a tank top and white sweatpants, or Striker, another guy in a tank top, but this time with green sweatpants. You will run into all kinds of ninjas in this game. The basic blue ninja run up and attack you, while the gray ninjas throw shurikens at you. Red ninjas attack with a sai, and teal ninjas attack with a sword. Other enemies are lady ninjas, dogs, and fire people. At the end of each stage you will face a boss. The first is the previously mentioned Karnov, who breathes fire at you. Second stage has a short Vega wannabe ninja who attacks head-on while sometimes trying to flip behind you. Third is a green ninja who has Dragon Ball's Tien Shinhan's multi-form attack. Fourth is Road Warrior Hawk, who does a spin double kick. Fifth is a bad Belmont cosplay with a whip. Sixth is a monk with a bow staff. The seventh and final boss is the head ninja, I guess. I'll call him Dragon Ninja. He sits on his helicopter throwing fire at you from above and attacking you with a sword when you jump onto the helicopter. Bosses are basic and only have a few moves, no standouts like my beloved Streets of Rage series. The level design is lackluster. You visit a few different locations, but they all essentially feel the same and loop together like the truck and train stages. The controls have slightly stiff handling to them, but nothing too bad. All in all, Bad Dudes gameplay is a subpar 1 bit out of 4. Now, I know a lot of people are going to think I'm going to give sound a positive ranking since Stage 2 theme is also the theme I chose for the show, but you would be wrong. Yes, Stage 2's song is awesome and very memorable, which is kind of why I picked it. But this game has essentially 3 songs: Stage 1 theme, Stage 2 theme, and a boss theme. Stage 1 and 2 alternate between levels. This lack of variety wore thin on me. The sound effects are downright garbage. When you defeat a boss, you are treated to your character striking a pose and declaring, "I'm bad." I'm bad. Possibly a reference to Michael Jackson's I'm Bad song. The voiceover work, or lack thereof, is heavily compressed and it sounded like the actor was very intoxicated and a bit of a mumbler to boot. So all this together gives sound a half bit out of 4. Graphical presentation is poor. The sprites kept flickering throughout the game. The bosses, the basic enemies, even my character couldn't hold his sprite together. Now, flicker is normal for games of this era, but Bad Dudes takes it to a whole other level. I think this is due to too many characters being on the screen at one time. The world doesn't have a whole lot of variety either. The only thing separating Blade and Striker from being the same character is the color of their sweatpants. The enemy ninjas look basically identical save for their colors. The stages look alright but heavily use black, brown, and green in all the levels. The world lacks variety in color. Now this could be all due to the NES's limitations, but I have played games on the system that still delivered more visual variety than Bad Dudes. So, you know what? It's not the system, but the developer. The plot is very basic and cuts to the chase. The president has been kidnapped by ninjas. And are you a bad enough dude to rescue the president? And after beating up all the ninjas, your bad enough dude does indeed rescue the president. He thanks you by offering to have a burger with you at the White House. How quaint. I love this story for its simplicity and ridiculousness, but the lack of variety elsewhere in presentation holds this game back. 1 bit out of 4. Bad Dudes for the NES is an okay title. It just feels mediocre at best, and I feel like it almost feels like it's someone who's in the middle of their scheduled week at work, you know? They've already worked quite a few days and put a few hours in, but they still got a long way to go, and it's just kind of like, you know what, I'm gonna coast today. And that's what Bad Dudes feels like. It feels like the development team just kind of said, hey, we're gonna coast on the development of this game. I can already hear some people saying, hey, you can't compare Bad Dudes to, say, Streets of Rage, to Final Fight. That was a whole different generation of video game consoles. It was better hardware, and you had more buttons to map out on the controls. And I would say, yeah, but look at the NES. The NES had some awesome beat-em-ups. You had Double Dragon, you had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, and even 3. So you had, on that system, a blueprint on how to make a solid beat-em-up game. So I'm not really comparing it to the 16-bit era of beat-em-ups. I'm comparing it to the 8-bit generation of beat-em-ups, and in that aspect, Bad Dudes falls very short. My final verdict for Bad Dudes on the NES is a recommended look, but definitely not buy for the casual or hardcore collector of the NES. It's a one-and-done game. Honestly, emulate it to see if you enjoy it before you buy it, if you're going to buy it. And I know hardcore collectors, you need to complete your NES collection. And to you guys, you can find it online for about $7 or $8. And I can already hear probably a hardcore fan base for this game say, oh, this game is great, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, I played it, there were some enjoyable moments, but ultimately, it's not a good game, it's not a bad game, it's a mediocre game, and yeah, that's my opinion, it's my review. If you don't like it, do your own review. That's where I stand on that. And with that said, that concludes my 4th anniversary review. 4 freaking years, that's like a presidential term. And I'm running for my 2nd presidential term for the MFers. I am the digital chronicler of all entertainment, 2-Bit Jesus. Thank you for watching. thank you for supporting the channel all these years. And hey, here's to another 4 years, and I'll see you next year when I review a franchise that I haven't taken. I've mentioned this franchise. I've mentioned it, but I'm going to start reviewing it next year for the next Beat 'em Up anniversary review. Thanks for watching. See you guys next month for my spooky Halloween review. As always, stay safe and play on.